Welcome to Mature Allure, where we highlight the experiences and perspectives of women in midlife. I'm your host, Sherri O, and today I'm really happy to welcome back Elly Klein. She's a dating mentor and the owner of Your Dating Bestie. Hi, Elly.
Hi, Sherri. Thanks so much for having me back.
Thank you for coming back. I had to have you back because this is Valentine's Day week.
Yes.
So, you go in the grocery store, it's all Valentine's and all Valentine's and Super Bowl. So there's two things going on at once. But
one for the girls, one for the guys.
Exactly. So, thank you for coming back. Hey, Elly, how have you been?
Good, thank you. I've been busy, had a Christmas vacation, Christmas New Year's vacation, and back into it now. And yes, Valentine's Day is looming this week.
Oh, it is. So, how's everything going with Your Dating Bestie?
It's good. So, just a refresh on what it is. It's a community-based community. It sounds funny, but I was going to say program, but I thought, it's community-based, and I help single women who are looking for their Mr. Right and I do it in a community setting. So I have a step-by-step system, but I put far more emphasis on the support. So there's 24/7 access to me inside the community to help you implement the system. And then you can learn from the other women and what they're going through. You can support each other and make friends. And I'm also a professional writer, so I write my clients' dating profiles, and that gives them a little edge online.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do this, and I wanted to do it this way, because I feel like there's a lot of information out there and not a lot of implementation. So there's not a lot of people there to help you when you really need it. And so that's why I make myself available 24/7. If I'm not sleeping and you contact me, I will help you. I don't care what day it is or what, it doesn't matter. And if there's an emergency, I'll jump on the phone with my clients, like a breakup or something.
Did you call it a sport? Did you call dating a sport?
No, sorry. It must have been something I said with my accent.
I help with the sport. And I was like, wait,
sorry, I said support.
Support. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. It can be seen as a sport, maybe.
Well, it could be seen that way, yes. But I call it Your Dating Bestie because I do take a best friend approach to helping my clients. I don't have like office hours or anything. I'm just there for them.
Yeah. Well, tell us, and you did this last time you were here. You told us a little bit about your story. Share your story with us again.
Yes. So I didn't meet my husband until I was 38, and we didn't get married until I was 42. And I just I did 11 years of online dating. I did it in 3 countries. So obviously Australia, because that's where I'm from, also Canada and the US. I lived in New York, had boyfriends in New York. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And then I actually worked with a dating coach myself, and I had some counseling, and I read some books, and I tried different ways of going about it. And then I finally sort of realized that the reason I'd had so much trouble finding someone was because I didn't really know what I was doing with dating. I was approaching it in ineffective ways. And then when I started being more effective in my approach to dating, I found David pretty quickly, actually. And then I think, I could have been married 10 years ago.
Well, when you say effective, what do you mean by effective?
Okay, well, I mean, just one of the obvious ones is that women will go for certain traits. So they'll be like, I would need him to be this tall, or I need him to be blonde or brunette, or this race or this religion, or university educated, or have this kind of career and live in this kind of place, whatever. And they're not the things that really matter. It's really more about finding someone who you're comfortable around, whose company you enjoy, who treats you like gold, who you can communicate well with, who's trustworthy, who's a teammate, and all these things. And that person is unlikely to tick all of your boxes in terms of like height and weight and hair color and, you know, career and this and that and the other. And so instead of ruling out anyone who doesn't fit into those sort of parameters, it's more about, like, if you're looking online, instead of looking at a dating profile or like, do I find him attractive or does he have these credentials? It's more about looking at the whole package and thinking, if this person was smart and funny and I enjoyed their company and they treated me well, would I find them attractive? Or, you know, would and then if there's a possibility, swipe right and see what happens. Like, they might not even match with you. And then if they match with you, see if you swap a few good messages. And then if you swap a few good messages, speak on the phone. And if you speak on the phone and that goes well, you meet for a date. If that goes well, you meet for a second date. Because the thing is, out of 100 guys that you might swipe right on, you'll probably only end up on a date with 5 of them. And you've probably only got a chance of maybe 1 or 2 of them becoming a boyfriend. And so, you know, and then you need to, it's more about how you feel around them and how they treat you and how they show up as a partner to you. And then you won't care that they're 5'10" instead of 6 foot or whatever. You won't care that they didn't go to a fancy university. You'll just care that you can have a good conversation with them. So it's just not being, I mean, that's just one example of how I approach dating really ineffectively for so many years. And
well, when you're coaching, is that like one of the main things how do I want to say this? Is that one of the main things you're really teaching or working with the individuals that you're working with on, and how receptive are they to that?
Oh, look, everybody's resistant to this. I was resistant to it. Everyone's resistant to it, but if you can just push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit and just be a little bit more open-minded and let someone through those filters, you just never know. Because I'm a prime example of it. So my husband was not what I was looking for on paper. Like, I thought he was cute, and I thought he seemed fun, but I didn't think we were a match. I didn't think we were a match until about the 4th date. I just thought he was cute and nice, and I thought he was cute and nice, and he liked me, and and I was being more open to what can happen. And so he was 10 years older than me, and now he does not look it. We look about the same age, but he is, and I was never interested in older men. But I mean, like, you wouldn't know it if you met him. You'd think we were the same age. But there were lots of things. We have different religious beliefs. We have slightly different political beliefs. He lived an hour's drive away from me. He had a cat and I was allergic to cats. And they were like, I was just like, just thought, we're probably not, I don't know if this is going to be my forever person. But when I got to know him, and all the things I was looking for, like, I wanted someone really intelligent, and he was. I wanted someone I could have a really good conversation with, and I could. I wanted someone funny, and he was really funny. I wanted someone who never kept me waiting by the phone. That was also something I wanted, and he didn't. And then he became, I didn't settle. That's the thing. I didn't settle. I found the right person for me in an unexpected package. Yeah.
You know, I think that word settling is really interesting. People use it and they say, I don't want to settle, or I don't think I should settle, or why should I settle? But it's not really, I think about settling. It's kind of just changing your mindset. So, you know, I think people thought of it in terms of less about settling and more about how you really think, like work within you first, change how you think about dating or even the people you're dating, then I don't think you'll see yourself as settling.
No. I mean, it's interesting that, you know, what women do is they'll try and get the best guy on paper that they can possibly get, and then put up with all of his nonsense, right? So,
That's
and
settling.
I'm using nonsense as a euphemism, but I mean, he could be moody, he could be difficult, he could be argumentative, he could be not thoughtful, he could be not a good listener. Like, I think you're really settling. Like, who cares if he went to Harvard and he makes however much money a year, and he's tall and good look. I mean, who cares if you're kind of miserable with him?
Yeah.
So that when you change your mindset around settling, and so no, I would never ever want any of my clients to be with someone who doesn't make them truly happy. Like, I'm absolutely helping them try to find someone who makes them truly happy, but pointing out that it might not come in the package they expect. And if they don't give those maybes a chance, like especially online, if they just flick past them way too quickly, then their Mr. Right could just sail right by them.
Yeah. Well, let's talk Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Because I remember when I was single, that was always, I mean, it wasn't stressful, but it was kind of like, okay. And the older you get, it's like, okay, well, let me just not expect anything because, I put my expectations really low, whereas other people have very high expectations on Valentine's Day. So what's your take on the day?
Look, I think that, and look, I hope that people know that I can relate to their misery, okay? I had one good Valentine's Day in my entire life before I met my husband, and I was 21. I was 21, and my Canadian boyfriend sent me flowers to my office in Sydney.
Oh.
And I thought that was really cute. We were doing long distance and whatever, and that was really cute. And I didn't expect it, but I never had another good Valentine's Day until I met my husband. So I certainly know what it's like to be like, oh, another day, and and I always looked at the cards because I love the cards, and I never had. Sometimes I had someone to buy them for, but I didn't know if they were going to get me a card, and and just the day just kind of went by. And then Australians are particularly cynical, and so they don't get into it like Americans do. Like, you guys really get into all your holidays, your Christmas and your Halloween, and so that's what I was going to say. I think Valentine's Day isn't just an opportunity to have a bit of fun. Like, don't take it too seriously. We live in a society where there's cards and there's gifts and there's events and there's things. And, if there's a card you want to buy or an event you want to go to or something fun you want to, just have fun with it. And if you don't have anyone to share it with, have fun with yourself. And I don't mean that the way it sounds.
I was going to say, okay.
I mean, you could romance yourself if you want to.
Exactly.
But what I mean is, just do something that'll make you feel good. Like, book a massage. Go order your favorite food and watch some girly show, or you can get together with your girlfriends. They call it Galentine's Day.
Exactly.
So just have fun with it. And look, and if it's no big deal to you, well, then don't worry about it. Like, just it is just another day in the end. But if you can have some fun with it, then I say have fun with it.
Yeah, I agree. I might be a little cynical on that Galentine's Day thing, because it's like you spend all your time with the girls anyway. Why is this, but that's a whole nother thing. That's me. What if you're in a new relationship? How should someone who's been in a relationship maybe a couple months and Valentine's Day is rolling around, how should they approach it? Yeah.
Yes, it can be a bit precarious. Look, I think, and I was actually only with David for 3 weeks when we had our first Valentine's Day.
Whoa.
I know. And I was just lucky that he is the type of person who's like any excuse for a celebration.
Yeah.
And so he loves to get into things like that. And it just happened to fall on a Saturday. And so we were going to have brunch together. And I think we had a little bit of a word, like I said to him, I like the cards. I like Valentine's cards. And he said, don't worry, I know it's Valentine's Day. I'm like, okay, and so it was really fun. I gave him a card. He gave me like a bunch of cheesy gifts, and it was really cute. And I was just happy to be with someone who can have fun with it and acknowledged the day and acknowledged our little new relationship. And I was happy with that. And so honestly, it is so different for every single person that I really do think it's worth having like a very brief and light word about it, and just say, hey, what do you think of Valentine's Day? And see what they say. They might go, oh, stupid, I don't like it, or they might say, oh yeah, like maybe we should do something. Like, you just don't know. I think you really do need to have a little check-in, and if you want some acknowledgement of it, then I think you need to express that, and you could say something like, look, I know it's commercial and silly and whatever, I don't expect you to go out of your way or get me a gift, but just something, anything, just something on the day. And you could say, I'm going to be getting you something or doing something for you, and I'll leave it up to you, and just have maybe a little word about it, and that's it.
And you know what? I think like our conversations are for women in midlife. I think at this point in life, if you can't have a conversation like that with a man that you're seeing, or you feel uncomfortable bringing that up, maybe he's not the right person.
I agree. And then it becomes not about Valentine's Day and about you guys being able to communicate.
Yeah,
Valentine's Day is just an opportunity to communicate about something.
Exactly. So what are some suggested dates maybe for new relationships on Valentine's Day? I heard you say you guys went to brunch. You had brunch already planned.
Yeah.
What are some suggested types of activities?
Obviously, I think that you should do whatever makes you feel comfortable as a couple. So if you know that your partner, like, the last thing on earth they'd want to do is go out to dinner, well, then don't drag them out to dinner. But try and do something that you would both enjoy. I mean, like, that might just be ordering in their favorite food and watching their favorite movie together. That might mean the world to them. Or it might mean the world to get dressed up and go out. Or it might be fun to go and do an activity like play mini golf or go to the movies or have a picnic, or, it just depends. So, and there's also, you can have a look around. I would say have a look around at your local area and see what's going on, because there might be something that really takes your fancy. Like, just in Sydney, like, some of my local restaurants are having fun little events, and maybe we'll go to one of them. It's just an opportunity to have fun and spend time together, and
Yeah. So what? Okay, everyone's on social media,
yes.
and people get caught up watching other people's lives. What are your suggestions for handling the Valentine's Day, how do I want to put it? Post, all of the posts, all of the, oh, I'm going here or doing this. I mean, because some people really feel that if they don't have that going on in their lives, what suggestions would you have for them in handling social media at this time too?
Sure. You have to have like a little talk with yourself and just remind yourself that what you see is not always what you get. And sometimes people will post things and they may have had a huge fight the night before, or they're going to have a fight that weekend and they don't even know it. You just don't know. But at the same time, there'll be people who will post things and be really genuine about it. And I think you should be happy for them. And I think you should feel inspired by it and think, I want that. So instead of feeling jealous or envious or negative about it, take it as inspiration and go, if they can find love, I can find love.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a big social media person. In fact, I find it a bit of a nuisance most of the time. But I do. David and I have a tradition of doing Valentine's Day cards, and that's the only thing we do. So we generally don't go out, we don't give gifts, but we try to find each other like the funniest card every year, and usually one that makes fun of each other a little bit. Like we had a card that said, I dislike you the least. Right? And something like, you never annoy me, except for yesterday, whatever. Something, I don't know. We find these funny, silly cards, and that's all we do. And so we just swap cards, and then because I love the cards, I post the cards on social media, and that's it. So I've got like all our Valentine's cards for the last, 8 years or however long we've been together. But in between, you won't see. You'll mostly see posts of our dog. I just
That's a cute idea.
Sorry.
That's a cute idea. That's a cute idea. The
silly
cards. Yeah.
Look, we find it fun. We think it's funny, and so we'll do cards. But if you like. Obviously that's genuine. I'm a very genuine person, and I am a very what you see is what you get, and that is something that we have fun with, and so I post about it on social media. But but honestly, I wouldn't let any social media post affect you too much. And if you do feel like a little bit of a rumbling, just use it as fuel, use it as motivation, and go, okay, next Valentine's Day, I'm going to have someone to give a card to, and I'm going to get my dating profile together, and I'm going to spend 30 minutes a night swiping and messaging, and just use it as motivation. That's the best you can do. Yeah.
Well, what would you suggest to somebody who is dating someone? It's Valentine's Day or it's coming up, and they're kind of going to they're getting blown off a little bit. I wouldn't say ghosted. I wouldn't say that, but it's like maybe a little distance. How do they read that sign, or what should they do? I think I know what they should do, but you as a dating mentor, what do you think they should do?
I guess if you're dating, like you're not in a relationship yet, if it's early days, I think you just have to take it as it comes. If you don't get a message or a card or anything on the day, then so be it. They're not your partner, so there's not a lot you can do. But if you are in a relationship with someone, I think it just depends on how important it is to you. If it makes you feel really sad that you've got this partner who's a bit bar humbug about Valentine's Day, and you're not asking the world, but you wouldn't mind a phone call or a text message or an email or some acknowledgement, even if they just sent you a Happy Valentine's Day with a little love heart text message, just nothing. I think that's a really reasonable request. And you can just say to your partner that it makes you feel sad, and you can acknowledge that they don't really like Valentine's Day and they don't feel great about it, but it also at the same time it makes you feel sad to not have any acknowledgement of it at all. And if you could just say, look, this is just a tiny request. I would love it if you would not let the day go by without any acknowledgement of it at all. Like I just do something, do whatever makes you feel comfortable, even if it's just a text message, but just something that would make me happy. Now, if that person couldn't care less about making you happy, then you've got a problem. You've got a problem, because then it's not about Valentine's Day. I mean, what happens when something else comes up and you want them to care about your feelings and they don't?
Yeah.
But I do think it very much depends on the stage that you're at, and if you've been on a few dates and it's really early days and you're not exclusive and they're not your boyfriend or your partner or whatever, then I think you just need to take it as it comes.
Mm-hmm.
And but everyone has such different feelings about Valentine's Day
Mm-hmm.
that them not acknowledging it might not mean anything if you don't know them very well. Yeah,
Okay.
if you don't hear from them on February 14, but then they ask you out for the weekend on February 15, well, just carry on. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, or, I mean, if you want to acknowledge it, you can, or you could send them a text and say something cute and
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, Valentine, or hey, Happy Valentine's Day. See if they reply and say, Happy Valentine's Day to you too. Like, you're in those very early stages. You're just getting to know someone, and you can't put too many expectations on them. But if you're in a relationship, you can absolutely communicate your feelings and give them a very, very small something to achieve. Just an acknowledgement of the day would be appreciated, and that's it.
A small achievement, just
It's
something really
something,
little.
yeah, a very small task.
So then what if you've been in a relationship for a while
Mm-hmm.
and you're not married,
Mm-hmm.
but you've been in this relationship for a while and maybe you want a little bit more. Maybe you want to be married. How should
Mm-hmm.
someone manage their expectations? Because people have, even though it's really just a day,
Mm.
people have expectations for Christmas and Valentine's
Mm.
Day and birthdays.
Mm.
Maybe I'll get this ring then. Maybe I'll
Mm.
get it, on one of those
Mm.
days. How should they handle their expectations?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not married and you want to be married, you need to have that conversation, and it needs to have nothing to do with Valentine's Day. Like, don't muddy the waters, because that's deciding whether or not to get married is a huge deal, and I think you kind of need to keep it as a separate conversation to Valentine's Day. And if you have agreed to get married and you know that your partner is going to propose at some point, say in the next 6 to 12 months or something, you need to just let them do it on their own time, and you just can't have any expectations on Valentine's Day. I mean, they might decide not to do it on Valentine's Day because they think it's too predictable to do it on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day. So, but if you're waiting around for a proposal, you have to have a talk about whether or not that is something that getting married is something that you both want for your relationship. Now, let's say you've been married for years and you've never really acknowledged Valentine's Day, and after however many years of not acknowledging it, it kind of makes you sad. You could say, hey, let's use this Valentine's Day to kind of rekindle our romance a little bit, and let's
Mhm.
do something, and what would be something fun that you would like to do. And so
Mhm.
you can use it as an opportunity to rev things back up again. But don't get it muddied with engagements. it's,
Yeah.
it's a bit dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It is. Let me ask you, you brought up dating profiles earlier in the
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
What suggestions would you have for women who are, just in general, how their dating profile should be set up? What are some key suggestions you have for them?
Okay, well, you need to have good photos, and you need about 6. So you need like 2 good portrait shots, 2 full body shots, maybe one in casual clothes, one in dress up clothes, and then 2 of something that shows your personality. So maybe it's a travel photo, or it's you doing an activity, like you bike ride, or you ride horses, or you ski, or whatever you do. And so a nice mix of about 6 photos where the person can see your face, can see your body, can see you dressed up, can see you dressed casually, and can see you doing something you love and being who you are, is like a nice mix of photos. So that would be the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is to flesh out your bio. So if your bio can sound like anybody else's bio, then it's not specific enough. So you can't just say, I like, eating out, going to the movies and travel, because everybody likes eating out, going to the movies and travel. And so you need to dig a little bit deeper. What are your favorite foods? What are your favorite restaurants? What are your favorite cocktails? Like, and if you like cooking, what do you cook? And what's your signature dish? And what do you make for special occasions or whatever? And just things like that. And if you like movies, say what movies, or say the last movie you saw and what you thought of it. Give your opinion, say something funny or say something interesting. And travel, travel can mean anything. Just talk about your favorite destination in the world, or the last trip that you went on, or the place, the destination you've been fantasizing about for your next trip. So you need to get really, really specific. And and then when you start getting more specific and you start using your own kind of voice, the way that you would say things or the way you might joke around, then it starts to sound a lot more like you and not a generic profile that is just boring, that someone's just going to swipe past. So they'd probably be my first 2. And then a third one would be to give the person a feel for what it's like to be your partner. So you got to remember that it's not a resume. You're not trying to get a job, you're trying to get a partner. And so you want to show that you're warm, that you're affectionate, that you're fun, that you're loving and loyal, and there are different ways to get that across in your profile. And they'd be the key points. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What else do I have to ask about for Valentine's Day? Any last suggestions before we go?
Really, Valentine's Day, in my opinion, is just a chance to have some fun. And if you're in a relationship, there are 2 people having that fun, so you need to do something or that makes you both feel happy and comfortable. So don't drag someone out to dinner or whatever if you know they don't want to go. Do something that makes you both feel good, that's fun for both of you. And like David and I have our funny card swapping ritual, and that's the only thing we do, and that's what makes us happy. And then if you're alone, just take the time to pamper yourself a little bit and nurture yourself, and book a massage, or eat your favorite foods, or get together with your girlfriends and just have fun. And if you see something on social media that makes you feel a bit envious, first of all, don't assume what you see is what you get. But even if it is genuine, try and use it as motivation for your own love life.
Well, thank you so much, Elly. Thank you. This has been a great conversation. How if people wanted to get in touch with you, how do they go about doing that?
Okay, well, my website is yourdatingbestie.com. My podcast is the Your Dating Bestie podcast. And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Substack, Medium, at Your Dating Bestie.
Wonderful. Thank you, Elly. Thank you so much for stopping by Mature Allure again. And tell the hubby I said hello. And
and thank you, Sherri, and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too. You're listening to the Mature Allure podcast. I'm your host, Sherri O. If you have a topic in mind that you'd like us to cover on Mature Allure, drop us a note in the comments or share it with us on one of our social media channels. Until the next time, remember, self-love is the key to unlocking the radiant allure that shines from within.